What's your catchphrase? What do people know you as? B. Simone, boyfriend,
Yeah.
DC Young Fly, bring that ass here, boy. And having a thing can give you an it factor.
What do you think one of the biggest mistakes is that creators make?
Quitting.
What's your opinion on consistency versus talent? Welcome to the Pink Book Podcast. I am your host, Joyce VanSeters, and I continue to bring you innovators and game changers who are redefining their success. The best stories aren't always told by the people in front of the camera. Sometimes they're told by the people making the biggest decisions behind it. On today's episode, I have a writer, producer, showrunner, and creative visionary whose work has helped shape modern comedy and entertainment. Nile Evans, welcome to the Pink Book Podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I love it. I'll take that intro all day. I like it.
Awesome.
I like it. It made me feel like I was a little bit bigger than I might have forgot who I was for a second.
Right? You had
But
to Google
thank you. I
him.
appreciate that. Yeah, I love
Okay.
it. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I'm glad to have you. So today we're going to pull back the curtain to talk about leadership, creativity, the realities of Hollywood, and what success really looks like when you're making it all happen behind the scenes. But first,
Yeah.
before we get into that, I want to know, before Hollywood, who was Nile Evans?
Before Hollywood, I don't know. I was just I was a young man trying to figure it out. I ended up figuring it out early because so when I was 12, my uncle took me to see Do the Right Thing.
Okay.
And Spike Lee was like huge at the time. And I'm 12 years old. And he was like, I'm gonna take you to this movie to see this movie. And I was like, oh my God, this Spike Lee guy he looks like me and he's doing it. And I was like, man, this is what I want to do. So I knew at 12, like I wanted to either be I wanted to be Spike Lee.
Okay.
And the funny thing about that is, my uncle who is Bentley Evans, and he eventually moved on to, writing on Martin and executive producing that and all these different things. He was the one that took me, and I ended up going to a book signing for
Okay.
Spike. I rode the bus to get my book signed by Spike.
You got on the bus.
And I was on the bus. I lived in South Central Los Angeles, and I rode the bus to Samuel French Bookstore, and he signed my book. And my uncle ended up showing up with Martin
Oh,
Lawrence, because
wow.
Martin was in the
Yeah.
movie, and he ended up taking me home. He was like, "Man, you're really, really into this. Like, you were serious when you said you really want to do this." And my uncle was he was still kind of like he was still in the acting world at the time, and so once he sprouted out into Martin, I would tell him, "Hey, man, can you send me one of those scripts and so I can see what they look like?" And I was just really curious, and so
Yeah.
I kind of think that I was lucky enough to find my passion early.
Okay.
But I was just a young kid living in South Central Los Angeles, trying to figure it out, try to stay away from gang culture and trying to live every day. Yeah.
Where are you from, Nile?
I'm from LA originally,
Okay.
but I have a lot of roots in the Bay Area. My dad, he lived in Harlem, so I would spend my summers in Harlem. So I was bi-coastal a lot. So I was all over the place. So I have a little bit of culture from a little bit of everywhere except for the South.
Okay.
But
And
yeah, that's where I'm from.
was it your passion after college or during college? I know you said your family was on different shows or showrunners, but what made you
Yeah.
think that television was where you belonged?
Well, I didn't know exactly if it was going to be television or film, but they kind of are hand in hand. So you if you work in one, you're going to end up working in another. So
Okay.
I was just looking for an opportunity, and my uncle at the time, by the time I had graduated from high school, he was the youngest showrunner to ever run two shows, black showrunner to ever run two shows. At 27 years old, he ran the Martin Show, and he had just created the Jamie Foxx Show. So he's doing
Wow.
two shows.
Yeah.
So for me, I was like, oh, okay, well, there's the lead in right there. Let me venture into this this TV thing because I have an in. You know, you gotta sometimes you gotta recognize the opportunity.
Yes.
So I saw that and I was like, all right, cool. Let me see what these scripts are about. And let me see what this is about. And then, eventually I got to work with him.
Was there a defining moment that changed everything for you? Like, what was that moment?
Okay, defining moment for me was probably I'm in my 3rd year of college. My
Mm,
mother was like, "You have to go to college. You gotta go to college."
okay.
And so I'm having a financial difficulty because I stopped playing ball in my 2nd year. So they were like, "Yeah, you owe us this money."
Right.
And I didn't really have it. And I ended up calling my uncle and I said, "Hey man, um, I'm in a situation, and I just moved back into the dorms for my 4th year,
Okay.
and I'm literally 2 weeks, and they call me and they're like, "Hey, you gotta take care of this financial thing." And I said, "Man, I can't go to school." And he told me, he says, "I'm gonna give you a choice." He said, "If you really want to finish, I'll pay for you to finish school,
Mm,
or if you say you really want to do this thing, you can come and I'll give you a job as a production assistant on the Jamie Foxx show." He said,
wow.
call me back in 48 hours. And I
Yeah.
called him back in an hour or two. And I was like, yeah, I'm coming back. I'm coming to LA I was going to school in the Bay Area. And I was like,
Mm,
yeah, I'm coming down there to start work. And he was like, all right, cool.
nice.
I'll get you a job on my show. And that's your in. This is all I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do for you. I'm gonna
Yeah.
give you the in. You got to make it from here. And so that was my ticket in.
So would you say with your career that your uncle is the one that gave you your first opportunity?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, my very first opportunity, real opportunity in the
Yeah.
business was definitely my uncle. He was very instrumental in, just making things happen. And I looked up to him. I have an aunt, she's a writer and producer and showrunner as well. And so I have these people in my family that are kind of
Mm,
in this world. And I was like, yeah, this is my place. And I think this is what I want to do. And, I got a chance to pursue my dream. And I think it's a rare thing for you to be able to do that, you
yeah.
know.
Very.
So yeah, I'm
I
very fortunate in that.
That's amazing. So you're a showrunner for a while now. I want you to
Yes.
explain to us exactly what a showrunner does.
All right. Showrunner is he's the head honcho. He's the foreman. He's the he's a little bit of everything. So you still got to write, you still got to produce, but you're in charge of the whole show.
Okay.
From writers to crew to cast to just everybody. And you have to manage that. And when the network comes, they come to you and they say, is this going to happen? And we're going to do this. And yes. So I'm the conduit to the network. And, we get it all done. We put the whole production together and we get it done, and we have to deliver the shows and edit them up and get them ready for you to watch on TV. So from start to finish, you're the first one there and you're the last one to leave. So that's my job as a showrunner.
Love that. So with that being said, what would you say, in your opinion, separates successful creators from newcomers?
Successful creators are consistent. You have to be consistent in this business. You have to know that it's not always going to go how you want it to go. There's going to be a writer's strike. There's going to be some sort of strike. There's going to be a downturn in the business. There's going to be your show gets canceled. There's going to be these things that if you don't get back on the job,
Mm,
you're not going to make it.
okay.
You're going to go work at Costco somewhere. And sometimes you might have to work at Costco to make ends meet, but if you really want to be in this business, you got to be consistent. And that's the same thing as like if you're an online creator, you have to be consistent. You got to constantly be posting stuff.
Yeah.
One thing might get you 10 likes and the next one might get you 230,000. So, but you just got to keep being consistent. And I think that consistency is the thing that really separates the winners from the maybe not losers, but yeah, there's winners and there's losers. There's usually one winner
So,
and
right,
in a
no in
track meet and
between.
nine losers.
Do you
So
identify it, like when you say when someone has it?
Okay, when I know somebody like it takes a lot for me to laugh.
Okay.
And so if you can get me to laugh, because I work in comedy, so I'm
Yeah.
seeing stuff and I'm not laughing, and most of the time my laugh is this. Oh, that's funny. Because
Okay.
I can't expel that much energy laughing all day.
Right, right.
But if you actually get me to laugh, I go, "Oh, there's something there."
Okay.
And oftentimes what what separates some people is the it factor is they have this uniqueness. Like a DC Young Fly has this really unique way of how he is, and he's just naturally funny. And
Yeah.
then some people have, and I try to tell people all the time. I said, "What's your catchphrase? What do people know you as?"
Okay.
You know, B Simone, boyfriend, um,
Yeah.
DC Young Fly, bring that ass here, boy. Everyone online can shout out your catchphrase. Conceited is DJ D, cut the beat. That's his thing.
Yeah.
And having a thing can give you an it factor, you know? And
Mhm.
so I think that those things that when people can walk up to you and they may not know your name, but they know your catchphrase, you have something,
Right. They know
you
who
got
you are.
something that you're building upon.
Okay. What do you think one of the biggest mistakes um is that creators make?
Quitting,
Hmm.
quitting when it gets bad, quitting when it gets bad. It's not like working at FedEx. FedEx, you got a job, it's gonna be that job, it's gonna be that job.
Right.
In television or film, you're gonna work for a little bit of time, and then you may be off, and then you're looking for a job. And then you might have one long show that lasts a year and then it gets canceled.
Mhm.
But you gotta make sure that you manage your money and you gotta make sure that you do not quit, because once you quit and you're out of the business for too long,
Mhm.
you're not coming back. You're not
Yeah.
coming back. And there, if you gotta be consistently at this craft. You gotta be constantly sharpening your tools. And the losers are the ones that go, I can't do it anymore.
Right.
You know, I can't do it. It's too many ups and downs, and let me just go get me a consistent day job. And I go like, that's cool. Like, it's just not for me.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Yeah. You talk about consistency a lot. What's your opinion on consistency versus talent?
See, it's kind of a 50-50 ball.
Mm.
You know, talent is one thing. Talent can get you through the door. And there's a
Right.
lot of people who are talented, but that person who's constantly trying and getting better, like I always give the example, like DC Young Fly is naturally funny,
Mhm.
but that doesn't, and that's a talent for it to be easy for him.
Right.
But if he doesn't utilize this thing, and maybe somebody like a Kai Cenat may just be consistent. And Kai Cenat is like, I'm constantly doing this thing. I don't have the talent. I'm not saying that Kai
Yeah,
Cenat
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
have
I
talent.
feel
He's
you.
very
Yeah.
talented. But I'm saying, like, I keep doing this thing and I'm
Right.
successful. This guy may be super talented and squander it and be like, yeah, I know I can do that, but I don't care. I'm gonna just hit the block and I'm gonna be lazy about it. So you gotta have a little mix of both, but I don't know if one outweighs the other,
Mhm.
but I know consistency will keep people like consistency, because you can build upon your talent with
Yeah.
consistency. You can just squander the talent whenever
Right,
you
right,
whenever
right.
you want to, because it's just there, you
Yeah.
know?
You've worked with a lot of, incredible, personalities, I'll say. What have
Yeah.
they taught you?
You know, whenever I meet somebody who is, who I really admire, I don't know if anybody is really what they've taught me, but what I've learned from them is that same thing. Don't be embarrassed when things don't go right.
Mhm.
Keep going. And if you have it, people will keep coming to you and they'll keep buying your albums. And you may have a bad album and everybody is a flop, but
Right.
okay, you're going to do another one, and then you're going to have this one hit. And sometimes all you need is that one thing that keeps you going, you know? And that's really it. I think that, you know, just being able to be just keeping at it.
What's one thing about television that we would be surprised about behind the scenes?
That is there's a lot of money, but you don't always make it.
Okay,
So
explain.
so you may work on a show and it may go 2 seasons,
Okay.
right? But the world is seeing the reruns all day long, so they think it like we haven't shot Wildin' Out in 3 years, but it's still on the air.
Really?
Yeah, it's still on the air,
Right, right,
but people think they think that I'm working, and I go like, "No, I'm working on other shows, but I
right.
haven't worked on that in a long time."
Okay.
And so they think, "Oh, you're constantly making money." And I'm going like, "No, I make money during this 2 months that we shoot the show, and
Okay.
then I'm working on something else." And they think, or they'll think like, "Oh, you shoot that show all year round and want to come to the show." I go like, "We shoot 30
Oh, like it's
episodes
live, you mean?
in 4 weeks."
Got it, okay.
So we're shooting, we're just shooting a block of shows,
Yeah.
3 shows, 4 shows a day for 10 days, and
Mm,
we're done.
and then just put them out.
I'm off working on another show.
Right.
But what people will think is, no, I'm not saying that you don't make a lot of money. You make good
Sure.
money. But it when you're at a higher level, you're making good money. But if you're below the line, which is, there's a line of executives and then there's below the line people, and
Mhm.
they're not always making that money, because it's not always a constant. And
Right,
so people will think, "Oh, you're making all this money for all this time." And you go like, "Nah, I made some money and then that's it." So
right.
you got to be really good with your money.
Okay.
That's the key, is being good with your money.
What's your opinion on, walking in a room and dealing with big egos? Like, how would you tell someone to deal with that?
You know, sometimes you're gonna deal with big egos, and is your ego bigger than theirs? I deal with you know a lot of people that were on the show that when they first started, they were very, very humble and very, very gracious, and then they start, season after season, they're like,
Right.
"No, I should get this and I need to get that."
Yes.
And then sometimes you got to cater to them a little bit. You got to go like, "All right, let me not piss this guy off, because he's
Right.
he's our big guy, and let me cater to him." And sometimes you got to let him know, "Hey, I don't have to have you. Like, we can get rid of you and the show will still go on without you. And
Right.
I need you to remember that." So sometimes you have to check the ego. When a guest comes on your show and they got a big ego, you also have to protect your crew from them being, a jerk to everybody.
Mhm.
Because they'll come on and they'll be like, "Yeah, I need to get this and I needed to get that." And you go like, "Hey man, I get it. You're a
Yeah.
big star, but you got to chill out. Like, you're coming into our house."
Yeah.
So you have to deal with people accordingly. And I think, everybody's a little different, but when you're dealing with these big egos, sometimes you just got to shut up.
Okay.
If Listen, if I'm in a room with Dave Chappelle and Kevin Hart,
Mhm.
I'm going to shut up. I'm just going to listen.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be trying to crack jokes all the time. I'm just going to sit back and listen. If I'm asked upon something, I'll do that. But that's because I know how to put my ego aside
Right.
and go, I'm not the big dog in the room, and I'm okay with that,
Yeah.
you know? So it varies often, but when you're dealing with big egos, you gotta treat them accordingly, but you
Okay.
also can't let it go to a point where you or your family of your show is being disrespected, because you
Yeah.
gotta go, "Hey, man, this is bigger than just you. Like, we don't have to have you. We'll pay you out and get you up out of here.
Right.
We don't have no problem," and it's happened before.
How did you end up, linking with Nick Cannon?
I'm a production assistant now on the Jamie Foxx show.
Yeah.
Um, and so my uncle's like, "Hey man, let's go to this comedy show. Will Smith wants me to see this young talented kid. Let's go
Okay.
down to the improv." And Nick's on stage. He's 16 years old. He's killing the improv. And I'm just like, wow, this guy is really talented. And Will's there. And that was my first time meeting Will. And it was like, oh my God. And he was 10 times the Will that he is. He's big, but he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
that much bigger then.
Right.
And this is before social media. So seeing Will Smith was a deal.
Yeah.
So, uh, my uncle and Will ended up, working on developing a show for Nick. And long story short, it didn't work out between the both of them, but but Nick and I, forged a friendship.
Okay.
And I was one of the younger guys. I was like, I don't know, 20 years old, coming out
Mm.
of college. So he's like, "Oh, this guy relates to me." These
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
they don't understand what I'm trying to say. So we were on the same wavelength. And we just stayed in touch. And we worked on things together. And he was like, "Man, I'm doing this thing over at Nickelodeon. I want you to help me with this." And I'd come over there and we'd work on some things. There was a writer's strike, the very first writer's strike that I experienced
Okay.
came, and I was working on a TV show and everybody was out of work. So for the next year, I was working at an insurance company and I happened to run into Nick, who had just done Drumline.
Hmm.
And he was like, "Man, I got this movie coming out." He was like, "Man, I got a record deal, man. You want to come on the road with me?" And
Yeah.
I was like, "What's that gonna be like?" And I was
Right,
like,
right.
Man, I'm trying to be a writer, dude. Like, I don't want to be on the road." And so he was like, "Give me 2 years and we'll write something together. We'll do something together." And I was like,
Okay.
"All right." I just happened the next week to be getting laid off.
No way.
Promise you. I'm getting laid
Wow.
off. And they're like, "Yo, you got a week and
Look
a
at
half
God.
left." Nick calls. He was like, "Did my manager call you?" I was like, "Nah, man, I get it. It's Hollywood. You just talking, right?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Man, let me get him on the phone right now." I literally was I don't think I stayed for my last day. The next day, after I talked to the manager, I was on a plane to meet Nick in like Denver, and he was on a mall tour. And I
Okay.
didn't come home for a month after that.
Wow.
And it was just the time of my life, and I
Yeah.
that was a big turning point for me in the very beginning because, now I'm on the road with my celebrity friend who just did this movie that's everyone loves.
Right,
And now
right.
he's doing this music stuff. And I was like, I got a chance to experience a lot of things that I don't think I would have ever experienced if I just stayed home and I was like, I'm just gonna work on being a writer. And
Yeah.
so that was kind of our journey. And I was on the road with him for like 2 or 3 years. And then he was like, "Man, I got this thing that we should do this thing." And I was like, "All right." So what is it? I'm thinking we're gonna do a sitcom. He's like,
Right, right.
"No, we're gonna do Whose Line Is It Anyway, but with black people in hip hop." And I was like, I don't even
Okay.
know what that is. I was like, what is that? Because I don't get it.
Yeah.
And then he kind of explained it to me, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I get it." And so we got together and we wrote a bunch of stuff up and got a bunch of comedian friends and together, and we kind of put it on its feet. And he was like,
Okay.
"I'm gonna fund this thing. I'm gonna shoot it myself."
Wow.
I was like, "Wow, this is like Tyler Perry was just now like we were just finding out who Tyler Perry was."
Right.
Like he was like, "No, we're gonna go shoot this on our own. I'm gonna take this money that I have and we're gonna go shoot it." And we went and shot it at the Comedy Union. It's a small, I mean, the Comedy Union wasn't no bigger than this room, but we shot
Okay.
it. Um, he sent it off to MTV. They loved it, and they ordered 8 episodes,
Wow.
and that was the start of it. And that was 2005. Yeah,
Wow.
that
See,
was
I used
20
to
years
watch
ago.
Whose Line Is It Anyway? So I've never heard Wild 'N Out described that way, but that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's an improv game show.
Yeah.
And the whole thing of it was, when you got a guy like Nick who, is a comedian and all your comedian friends are like, "Hey man, you're on, you need to create a platform."
Right.
And Nick was like, "I need to have my own SNL so that I can get all these people who are bugging me about like, 'Hey man, I'm trying to get on. I'm trying to
Yeah.
get on.'" He's like,
Yes.
"Cool. I'm going to put something together so that we're all going to get on." And he helped launch the careers of a lot of people,
Nice.
and yeah, it's something that we're really proud of.
You should be. Tell us what's the most unforgettable backstage moment that you have?
Unforgettable backstage
Yeah, a
moment,
behind the scenes moment.
behind the scenes moment. Oh man, I think I might have mentioned this before, but Um, what was really cool for me was I was working on Celebrity Squares, and I had worked with Snoop before a couple of times,
Okay.
and Snoop was like, "Hey, Nile," and he knew my name,
Whoa.
and I was like, oh man, Snoop knows who I am. Like,
Right.
how cool is that to me? Like, and that was like that was like one of those moments where I was like, dang, like this guy that I've admired for so long knows
Yeah.
who I am. And, I was kinda I felt like I was kinda well into the business
Yeah.
for a minute for that to happen, but it was such a dope moment for me that he knew or like, if a Rick Ross says your name and you're like, "Damn, that's Rose."
Yeah,
You know what
right.
I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I've had some really cool moments where, you run into people that you've always admired and, you have these conversations and you go like, "Man," like, I think I mentioned the other day, about Khalil Kain.
Yes.
And Khalil Kain, I was a huge Juice fan,
Okay.
and I was playing in the entertainment league, and like Michael B. Jordan was on one of the teams, and like all these people, like, but Khalil Kain happened to be on my team, and
Okay.
and he came late, and he was like, "Oh, what's up, man?" And I was like, "Oh, that's the dude from Juice." Now I'm sitting next to Adam Sandler. I don't
Okay.
care about that. And I'm like, "That's the dude from Juice."
Right.
And I was like, "Oh my god," like, and then he was like, "Yo, man, what are you doing after?" It sounds so crazy that Khalil Kain was that moment for me,
Yeah, yeah.
but it was just like that's when I really sat back and I was like, "Yo, I'm in a really cool business. Like, this is a blessing." That's what I had to really understand of what it was. This is a blessing.
Yeah.
Like, I could be at FedEx throwing boxes right now,
Right?
but I'm sitting next to these people who I'm like, "Dang, I love that movie," and now we're cool because 'cause we've played a few games together, and I'm like, "Oh, man, this is how dope is this
Right.
to be in this world where, you get a chance to meet some of your heroes,"
Yeah.
you know?
Now you created success pretty fast. What would you define as success today?
Well, you know what? I wouldn't say success came fast. We
Oh,
didn't start Wildin'
okay.
Out. I was 30 when Wildin' Out came out.
Okay.
So that was 20 years ago. So I felt like as compared to Nick, who's
Yeah.
16 and he's on Nickelodeon, you
Right,
know what
right.
I mean? But I was like, oh man, I'm a late bloomer. This show doesn't really happen until I'm 30. Um, I think success is and I've been on walks. I walk in the morning, early morning, and success is anything you're proud of.
Okay.
Just you, not to everybody else.
Yeah.
Whatever you're proud of is a success because there's been many a times where I felt like I'm successful because of my ego saying,
Mhm.
"Oh, I've done something that was successful."
Yeah.
But no, it's really just on anybody's level. If you're proud of that thing, if you are proud that you got a promotion at Dairy Queen, like that's success.
Yeah.
Any kind of stepping stone that you're proud of is success,
I
you
believe in
know.
that. Yeah.
And then, the money that comes with it sometimes feels good too. So that
Yeah, right?
that can
That's
be a
success.
success for some people too. But anything that
Exactly.
you're super proud of, like
Mhm.
I feel very blessed to be a part of a show that's lasted this long, helped so many people, and this show bought me a house and fed my kids for, my son is 20 years old. He was born the same year it started
Yeah,
until
yeah.
until it's still feeding him. I really feel fortunate because what I do know is everyone doesn't get to live their dream out,
Right.
and everybody doesn't chase them, but everyone doesn't get a chance to live it out. And I just feel very fortunate to be a part of something that I feel is a success.
Yeah. That being said, what's your advice for, our new generation of creators?
Man, just don't stop. Just
Okay.
keep going. Whatever it is you want to do, just stick with it and just know that you're going to get tested along the way. And that test is to say, do you really want it or not? You think you got to go through something to get to
Right.
something. And right now, the weird part about now is there's not really an audition process too much for a lot of things anymore. Like YouTube says you're on,
Right.
you know. You want to start a podcast? Your show's greenlit today.
Yeah.
You can have a podcast. you can become a creator and not have to audition. So there's no barrier of entry anymore. And so I think that those barriers were good because it made you fight for something. It
Mhm.
weeded out the people who were not going to be successful at it and really, really go after it. They were just kind of like, oh, I could do that. So I'll
Yeah.
do it. And you go, the people that win are the first movers and the ones that are just consistent, that are
Okay.
like, no, I don't care. I'm just going to keep doing this thing and something is going to happen, you know? And I
Yeah.
think those are the people that really set the bar for what it is. And you just got to ignore all of the problems and the downturns of the business and all these obstacles that come in your way, and someone dies in your family and you got to keep going. You
Mhm.
got to keep going. You just have to have that mindset. So I think that if there's any advice, it's chase your dream.
Okay.
Chase it. Chase it. Just go after it, because I don't when I go to work, I don't feel like it's work.
Right.
I don't ever feel like I'm not like, yeah, I'm stressed out about certain things like, oh,
Yeah.
the guest is not going to be here on time and we're going to go into overtime. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I'm about to watch this comedy show 3 times a day with ASAP Rocky is here, Rick Ross is over there, and we got Mike Epps is the comedian. Like, I go like, and then at the end of the week, they're gonna cut me a check?
Yeah.
Like,
That's your
eh,
passion. It's your passion.
your passion will pay off and it won't feel like work. There's
Yeah.
never a day that I've gone to work that I felt like, oh, I got to go get on this first class flight to Atlanta so I can go hang out with
Woe
all
is
my
you.
friends
Right.
and eat catered food all day. Even when my son, he was my wife said something. She was like, we work really, really hard for things and da da da. And all I could think of was telling my son, like, I don't really work that hard. like, it's not
I
hard
get it.
work. It's not. I
I
don't work
get
at a
it.
steel mill,
Yeah, yeah,
but I
yeah,
was
yeah.
just like, it's not that
I
hard.
get it. I get it. Sometimes I'll be sitting in my backyard with a cup of coffee at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm like, my life is just really hard for all the people that have 9 to 5s. It's just really hard to be me. So I get what you're saying, but
It's
you got to get there. You
it's
got to put in the
just
work to
so
get there.
hard to they didn't I wasn't on the right airline.
I know.
Ugh,
I know,
who's
right?
messing this up for me? Yeah,
Now
you gotta
you
keep
are
it in
also
perspective.
yeah, right. You are also the showrunner for the Roxy Diaz and Deion Sanders show, right?
Yeah, 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 we did 2 seasons of, a talk show called We Got Time
We got
Today.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun, coming up with it was a different thing for me. It
Okay.
was doing, a talk show. And ironically, we did the second season on Riverside,
Okay.
which this is the what you're using. We use the same thing because the first season I had to fly to Colorado uh, every other week to shoot
Right.
2 episodes and then fly back and do the whole thing.
Okay.
And but the second season we did it kind of via satellite. He was there in Colorado and
Mhm.
Roxy was here, so we set up 2 things and we used this Riverside app to broadcast it. And
Okay.
we had a good time. And those 2 they have amazing chemistry and they're
Yeah.
super talented. I've known Roxy for over 20 years,
Okay.
and she's amazing. And Deion Sanders is salt of the earth. That guy
Yeah.
he's absolutely hysterical, and just he's a good time. And he's just, you know, the funny thing is I'm not a football fan. I say, hey man, I'm not big into football, but I'm big into you as a father. I
Okay.
said that's where you gain my fanhood from.
Okay.
Is you being a dad is bigger than sports to me.
Okay.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, okay, you know how to play
Yeah,
this
yeah.
game." I was like, "Yes, I don't really rock." I'm from LA. We didn't have a football team for 1,000 years. It was
Okay.
just there's no other team but the Lakers.
Well, I'll
There's
just
just
let
no
you
other
know
team in the
I'm a
world.
Raiders girl, ride or die, because I mean, I just am since I was like 13. So,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, little Vegas Raiders
Yeah, but I
situation.
mean,
Okay,
back then, I think I lived in
it was
Bel Air,
Oakland, huh?
Springs, California at one point,
Yeah,
and it was like you were either a 49ers fan or a Raiders.
that's it. That's
Exactly.
it. Yeah, I
What
love it.
legacy do you wanna leave behind?
I just want to leave a legacy of fun. I want everybody to chase their passion and I don't want them to feel stressed out. I can't imagine working a regular 9 to 5 not to it's just not for me. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know
yeah.
if I would survive. When I hear people going through like, "Oh, I'm depressed," and I go like, maybe that's the 9 to 5, but I don't. I
Mm.
get to laugh every day with my friends and tell jokes and come up and be creative, and I think there's happiness in that. When we got to the 20-year mark, I was like, "Oh man, like I think everybody wants to leave some sort of mark on the world," and you go
Mhm.
like, "Oh wow, like I left something that people will be able to see." And it's like I Love Lucy is always gonna live forever.
Yeah.
20 years of a show that, people can watch and my name is on it every time,
Yes.
so that it feels good.
It's a beautiful thing to me when you actually create your own life, like the life that you wanna live,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And it's not always what you want it to be, but
No,
it
but
always works out.
yeah, I'm someone who's very big on change, and it's probably because, like I told you, I was a military brat. I couldn't keep friends because I knew we were always moving around. So
Yeah.
I like welcome change. It could be the biggest change in the world. It could be a divorce. It could be anything. I think of it as let's go for the next chapter. Like I'm never one of those
Yeah.
people that would sit back and be like, "Oh no, now I got to start over." I'm like, "Yes, we're starting over. Day
Yeah, it's
one.
a
Let's
fresh
go."
start.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're not losing anything, you're just gaining something new.
Absolutely. What is
Nothing
one
stays the
sentence
same.
exactly. And we're changing every day, right? You as you grow, you go to
Every
a
day.
different grade, you're changing every day anyway. Welcome it.
Yep.
What's one sentence from this podcast that you said that you would like the world to remember?
Be be
Be
consistent.
consistent. We need a shirt.
Just be consistent. Just keep doing it. Everybody wants to be a creator,
Yeah.
but the consistent ones, the ones that can just keep putting out videos, you're going to win at that point.
Yes.
Something's going to go viral, but
Yep.
most people, they start it and they go, they're going to do 2, 3 episodes of their podcast and be like, I didn't make any money or nothing happened. You go like, you gotta do it for not the love of the money. The money will come,
The passion.
you know,
Yeah.
but be consistent and somebody will pick it up. You get that one guest, your show goes viral. Now everybody's watching all your episodes.
Yeah.
So
So that being said, I would like to go back to you saying to our new generation of creators that there's no audition now. You just show up on YouTube. YouTube grants you a podcast.
yeah,
I would agree with you, but I would piggyback off that and say that your first 30 days of your podcast is your audition. You quit.
it pretty much is. And it's you trying to figure out what's gonna work and what's not,
Hmm. That's how I felt.
and yeah, I mean, you're gonna run into your own stumbling blocks and figure out how to format it and what are you gonna do first and
Yeah.
how are you gonna end it and what your format is. And fortunately we have Chat GPT now that can tell you everything of what to do, but before we had to just
They don't
figure it
always
out.
sound like you though. They don't always sound
Nah,
like me.
nah, they
I
can't.
like
No,
sometimes I'll
there's
use it. Yeah, and I'm like, I would never say that.
yep, and you just got to put a rewrite on it.
That's true. That's true.
That's
But
it.
I'd rather say what I would say first and then let them do the rewrite,
There you go.
you know?
There you go.
Niall, this was amazing. Thank you so much for being on the Pink Book podcast,
No,
telling us
thank
the
you so
behind the
much for having
scenes.
me.
Of
I'm
course.
honored that you would even consider me for this, and I thank you for it, and I appreciate your time.